I was just praying last night and just seeking God about this whole situation with Jonathan and Susie, seeking God about everything that's been going on in the church this year, the cleansing in the church. And I felt that God just deposited something with me that I want to share with you as I'm sitting there, because these thoughts weren't on my own. I just come before the Lord and just try to be quiet and silence and listen to what he would speak through me, through the word, to my heart. And I felt God spoke to my heart. And I'm one that does focus on the end times a bit in this ministry, but I don't want to get obsessed with talking about the end times, and I don't want to teach in end times that leads to fear or people checking out. Okay, so I want to preach about the end times and teach about it in a way that's redemptive, in a way that encourages people to continue to occupy until Jesus comes and to be optimistic. But I often talk about Jesus coming back, and tend to focus on Jesus coming back for a spotless bride, until I realized that there's no way it's possible right now from where we're standing that Jesus is coming to cleanse the whole church and make it spotless. Actually, many in mega churches these days will probably drop out and end up following the Antichrist and getting the mark of the beast. God is only going to make the remnant bride spotless. And it occurred on me, wait a minute, God is coming back for a spotless bride. With all this corruption in the church, how is he going to make these mega churches and these mega ministries like Benny Hinn that are all about money and gimmicks and lies? How is he going to make churches like that spotless? And I realized he's not. God is going to make the remnant spotless. And the remnant is going to be called out of the corrupt church. The remnant is going to be called out of mega churches. Okay, I don't want to make all mega churches are bad. There are good, larger churches. There's plenty of them. I've been to them. I know them. I know pastors that lead bigger churches that are good. But the point being is a large majority of them are about the money and the organization. So the remnant is going to be called out of some of the bigger ministries. The remnant is going to be called out of a lot of these fake ministries that closed this year, or corrupt ministries that will be closed. And God is going to call out the true believers, the remnant, out of that place. And he's going to perfect that remnant and make them spotless for his return. Because I do believe the return of Jesus is coming back, and he's coming back sooner than we think. And the remnant is being called out right now. And that's part of the reason why God is bringing down these false ministries, these corrupt ministries, so that we will take our eyes off men and that Jesus will lead the church. It will be the same thing for Israel at the end of the Great Tribulation. We know God isn't going to save all the Jewish people. He's going to save a remnant of people from the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. He's going to save a remnant who has been purified by the Great Tribulation. And they're going to cry out to him, and God is going to supernaturally and sovereignly save them. Well, God is doing something in this hour, as we have seen some of the biggest ministries shaken this year, some of the biggest ministers shaken this year, and there's more to come. God is pointing out that our churches and their leadership, they're not doing it. Whatever it is, this isn't it. And charismatic think they have a corner on the market. Let me tell you something. As a charismatic, we don't. This is a laughing stock and an embarrassment. God is calling the true remnant out of these larger ministries and corrupt ministries to form real ministries, smaller ministries, house churches, legitimate grassroots movements of God. And this is the remnant that will be made spotless, the true church, the remnant. Those who don't care about empires and megachurches and organizations that are filled with corruption, but those that really cry out from the heart of God to know God. They want to worship him in spirit and in truth. See, the charismatic church got the spirit thing down, but there's very little truth in the movement right now. Very little truth. And if it is there, we try to ignore it when we find evil, when we find wickedness. We want to just move forward because the ministry scene has got to move forward. We want to advance the gospel as our excuse. But if there is corruption, if there is wickedness and evil, we cannot worship God in spirit and in truth. And Jesus said, there is a time coming. You neither worship here nor there, but my people will worship me in spirit and truth. This remnant, they won't care about titles and fancy services with fancy worship teams and smoke machines. They won't care about big names. They will just want to really know God and follow and have an authentic faith. And so really, that's what I believe that we're going on.